12 months, 14 countries, 18 cities, and over 100 kids. This is one Shakespeare director's journey around the world to unearth the most innovative ways of introducing young people to the Bard. I'm Andee Kinzy, founder and director of Improv and Shakespeare. If you like the sound of our projects, please subscribe for more.
What we're trying to do almost all the time in workshops is give kids a visceral experience of something that usually just exists on the page, or something that we could explain intellectually, but we want kids to have a sort of a physical and visceral response to that. So it's called an image garden. We call it an image garden. I'm not exactly sure where we got the phrase image garden from. Well, I use it a lot with Hamlet's Tutu solid flesh soliloquy for those two reasons, because there's a lot going on for him. He's jumping back and forth between heaps of different ideas and heaps of different images, and also it's really, really dense with imagery. So when students approach it for the first time, you can just see them sort of look at it and go, I just can't figure my way through this, because it is like a garden or a forest of these images.
And it's about activating all of the ideas and images in Hamlet's mind. So we take it off being just words and ideas on a page and see how can we physicalize Hamlet's state of mind.
And what we've done with this exercise is we've chosen the 8 or 9 images that Hamlet seems the most obsessed with, that he returns to a lot. So he talks about time a lot, talks about God a lot, talks about corruption a lot, talks about his mum and women an awful lot. As I get up, I think maybe 9 or 10 students, I say to them, imagine that I'm in a sculpture exhibition of Hamlet's mind, and I say, okay, you two over here, I want you to create a sculpture for me of corruption, example, and then I would get somebody else to say, okay, you are going to be a sculpture of religion, and then the next person is going to be a sculpture of time. So whatever they think time might be, I get them to just come up very quickly. They get a few seconds to create a sculpture of time. So inevitably you get a clock or whatever.
And it could be one student or a couple together.
Yeah, you could couple them up.
Yeah.
And then the other one that
Greek mythology.
Use is Greek mythology. So like this idea of a classic hero, like a Homeric hero. And then we get a sculpture of old Hamlet. So Hamlet's father that he worships and thinks is the best thing ever. And then I said time, didn't I? And then we have another sculpture that is Gertrude and Claudius. And so we set them up around the room. So there's 8 or 9 of them around the room. And then I say to everybody, okay, relax, just stand there. And now we're going to have our student who's portraying Hamlet reading the speech. And I say to the student who's portraying Hamlet, anytime you mention any one of these things, I want you to be standing right next to it. So you've got to just read the speech as normal, but you're running around the room to sort of touch your sculpture on the shoulder, yeah? And sculptures, you've got to respond.
They come to life.
When Hamlet comes to you, you've got to get in your position, whatever your position might be.
The audience watching, which is the rest of the class, also has copies of the soliloquy and has to make sure that Hamlet is in the right place.
And so they're yelling out, saying, no, you've got to be over here, you've got to be over here, you've got to be over here.
If we're talking about, oh God, and he's over there, we've got to be near religion, right? And so Hamlet is not only, worrying about where they have to be, but they've got other people telling them where they have to be.
Yeah. And so it's crazy, because inevitably you're not getting a student who knows the speech. Do you know what? You're working with somebody who might be looking at it for the first time.
What happens is that you see Hamlet having to return very quickly to the same place or going back and forth between images. It gets very exhausting for that person.
By the end of it,
it's funny to watch.
Yeah, and by the end of it, they're puffing, they're literally puffed out, because they've been made to run back and forth across the room. And so you get the opportunity to say, look at this, say to the audience, look at this physical specimen, this exhaustion. This is what's going on. This is a physical manifestation of what's going on in Hamlet's mind.
Where did Hamlet spend a lot of time?
Yeah.
Gertrude and Claudius got to, and you're able to talk about why and the obsessions and where his brain gets stuck and how he keeps going back between, various ideas again and again, and it keeps coming back to them. And it's worth saying we can do this for any character. We use it a lot with Helena in A Midsummer Night's Dream and her beautiful, any character, because all of their soliloquies are packed with imagery, whether it's tragedy or comedy.
But it's fascinating from the perspective of studying the play and taking the time to pick apart the language.
We actually advocate not reading the whole play. And doing an in-depth study of choosing the key scenes and the key soliloquies, and narrate the points in between.
Activity.
They need to know the whole story, but do not spend your time reading every line with your class, because that's not serving anyone. It's better we'd love you to spend a whole lesson, a whole hour on one soliloquy. and then a whole, you know, and by looking at these scenes and soliloquies, you're getting a really in-depth understanding of the whole play.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Keep the conversation going by leaving a comment below. And while you're here, don't forget to check out the next video.